Paul, Ohio, you're on the Wilkow Majority. Hello.
Hi, Andrew. One of the main problems with your analysis is the fact that you do consider race and orientation apples and oranges, and I can tell you definitively as a gay person that you're wrong.
Really? So race. What race are gays?
That's not the point.
But that is the point. Race and sexual orientation are two different things.
No, they're two. Well, of course, they're two different things. Like gender is two different things, but that doesn't. But they're the same with regards to the fact that they are a fundamental part of a human being's personhood. That's how they're.
So that's the military standard now. Whatever's encapsulated in your personhood must now be tolerated by the military.
No.
Why not?
What should?
Why not? Wait, you said it's part of personhood.
Andrew, let me answer the question.
Okay.
What the military, in my view, and in the opinion of most Americans and even most conservatives, is that American citizens should be judged on their ability to perform the job. So that means you get promotions based on that.
Hold on a second, Paul. I just want to stop you right there. Who determines what the characteristics of job performance are?
Whatever the standards are to meet whatever you need to do for that position.
But what you're saying now is the military isn't. You're saying now the military isn't free to dictate those terms now.
No, I just said if a person can perform the job, then that's what they should be judged.
So then there should be no such thing as conduct unbecoming. So long as you could do what needs to be done while in uniform, there should be no such thing as conduct unbecoming.
You're drawing that's ridiculous conclusion.
Why? No, hold on. No, Paul, that's exactly the conclusion. Then there should be no such thing as conduct unbecoming.
Andrew, you don't listen.
I do listen.
No. Well, then be quiet for a second.
No, Paul. Don't do that. Don't do this little game where you think you're gonna call up and you're gonna take over this radio program. No professional radio broadcaster lets a caller take over the program. Okay, I host the program.
Andrew, will you let me answer the question?
Well, you're not answering the question. What I'm trying to do, Paul, is take what you're saying to its logical conclusion. And if you're saying that the military doesn't have the right to draw up its own template for its you're saying is, in the end, we need to eliminate conduct unbecoming.
I didn't say it's perfectly okay to have conduct unbecoming because you're talking about conduct. That's fine. What I'm talking about is
if expressing homosexuality is part of conduct, that's for the military to determine.
See, that's what you do. You're missing the point.
Okay.
A celibate straight person and a celibate gay person are the same as they're interested in performing the job. It doesn't matter what your orientation is. You're a professional. You're performing the.
Then that is some of the wisdom behind don't ask, don't tell. You don't ask and you don't tell.
It's no different than religion. It doesn't matter what religion the person is. They just come in and they do the job. They're not out there proselytizing. They're not harassing people about their religion. They just do the job. It's the same thing. It doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman, as long as they can do the job.
So what you're saying is that if a Hasidic Jew wants to serve in full beard and payas, the military should change its appearance codes.
I assume that their appearance codes are, to some degree at least, related to job performance and wear and safety.
But how can a Hasidic Jew be a Hasidic Jew and be in the military?
That's a question I can't answer.
Well, then we're discriminating against these people, aren't we?
Andrew, if we want to try to find...
You just don't like it when it doesn't work out in your... Paul, I'm using your own words. If you're saying that these things have nothing to do with one's ability to function in the military, then that would mean that the military's haircut is unjust because it cancels out a whole bunch of people who have religious obligations to having their hair cut that way.
Sure, the military has a policy on that, but we're talking about sexual orientation and the fact that you said it's apples and oranges, and I'm telling you that it is not.
Black and gay are two different things.
Behavior is behavior, and orientation and race are parts of one's being. They are not.
Right. Just as you said, so is religion. And if the military is unwilling to change its appearance standards for those who have religious objections to having their hair cut that way, then you're accepting that discrimination because it's not your discrimination. Thank you for the call. 1-866-95-PATRIOT. I did see that they accepted one Sikh into the United States military. I have a feeling he's going to be the poster boy and the only guy. They're not going to start changing the rules of the military to accept people who wear turbans. If you want to be in the military, you accept the military haircut. That means if your religion dictates that you have a beard and the military says you can't have a beard, you got to shave that beard or you can't join the Army. And that's no slam on Jews or Muslims. The military is not going to start allowing rank-and-file soldiers to wear their payas the way Hasidic Jews do. That's just the reality of things. The military will also say that you can't have visible tattoos anymore. That's part. What does the appearance of visible tattoos have to do with whether or not somebody can jump out of an airplane or shoot straight? It doesn't. 1-866-95-PATRIOT. But you can't. The people who have decided that this is their issue only want it compared to. See, it's funny. They want to compare themselves to blacks in the military when that gives them something to attach themselves to. When you look at other people who might be discriminated against in their personhood, so long as it makes the case against, then they don't want to hear it anymore. All of a sudden, the military's right with those codes. 1-866-95-PATRIOT.